Hi, Patrick here, and welcome to the webinar, The Real Cause of All Negative Emotions, Thoughts, Beliefs, Habits, and Limitations. So first of all, I want to congratulate you for being here and taking the time that you're investing in yourself to look for an answer. And I know that the self-help industry can be confusing. There's so many approaches, there's so many methods, and so many books, and so on and so on. So it can be overwhelming, and you might be wondering what are the approaches that will actually give me the results that I want. And in this webinar, I'm going to share with you the real cause, and by understanding the real cause, you're going to be able to better choose which approaches will suit you the best. But also, I'm going to share with you a workable approach that is working and giving long-lasting changes. Now, before we continue, I promised I'll give you a gift, and so and I'm going to share with you this gift. By the end of the webinar, I'll give you the access so you can go there and take advantage of those gifts, because they are quite good. And I'm not just saying that because I created them, but anyway, you'll see. I'll show you what those are. Okay, so my gift for you for attending and being here at this webinar is twofold. First is my online video course, which is called Principles That Will Change Your Life. In that course, I'm going to share with you the 4 things that you do to limit yourself. And these are things that most of the time we're not even consciously aware that we are doing them or exhibiting these different programs, if you want. But I'm going to show you what they are, so when you're aware of them, you have more awareness, and you can actually, with this increased awareness, you can start to stop doing that. And the second thing I'm going to share with you in that program is what you really want and why you don't have it. So it's quite self-explanatory, and what you really want can be different from what you're currently thinking that you are wanting, or it could be the same, but by understanding this principle, you can see it from a different light that will give you more clarity and power in your decision making to achieve what it is that you want. And also, I'm going to share with you why problems are not the problem, and that in itself, I'll leave that, doesn't need any further explanation. But in this program, which is my free gift to you, you're going to find out about this, and there's more as well in this program. Also, what you're going to receive is my ebook and audio called The Real Law of Attraction. What makes the law of attraction work, why doesn't it work, and then I'm going to share with you 10 vital tips to maximize the result from the law of attraction. What are things that you can take into account to maximize the opportunity there to create more for yourself, and how to make the law work faster and more efficiently. And I can see there's a bit of red marks here, and that's okay. We just leave it. I hope you can forgive me for that. Okay, so that's my gift. I'll give you the link, the access to it by the end of the webinar, but you can looking forward to receiving these ones and enjoy them. As I have been in the self-help industry for over 25 years and started a path when I was 15, reading books and so on, during this whole time, because I want you to understand where I'm coming from and why this webinar was created. When I was 15, I started to pick up books, How to Win Friends and Influence People, and other self-help books, Positive Thinking and so on. And those books inspired me to want to know more. I wanted to learn more about life. I wanted to learn more about what makes people tick. I wanted to learn about how I tick, so I can make the changes and get rid of those limitations and maybe lack of self-confidence and those kind of things that were in the way for me to reach my full potential. So during these last 25 years, I've been going with many different approaches, and at some point about 4 or 5 years ago, I asked myself, because as I've been teaching people NLP, training people to become life coaches and so on, in my own experience through that time, I was getting certain results with my clients in any of my trainings, and people had positive effects, positive breakthroughs, but it wasn't a deep level transformation. There weren't, even after all of this, myself, I wasn't totally free. I still had limitations, mind viruses and so on. And I noticed that in other people who were teaching, behind the scenes, I met a lot of these gurus, so to speak, and I could see it was the same thing for all of us. And the people inside the self-help industry as students were experiencing the same things. It wasn't this stable, lasting fulfillment and freedom from all negativity, to use a word. And with negativity, I mean everything that is limiting us, all the obstacles, limitations, negative beliefs, emotions, habits. So I was thinking to myself, is it possible that 99% of the self-help approaches do not work? Is it possible that 99% of the life coaching approaches do not work? Is it possible that most of these self-help methodologies that I've been teaching and that I've been going through myself didn't work to the extent that most of us want it to work? I'm not sure if you relate to this, but we go through this, which I'm going to get into later, but we go through this magic pill syndrome where we want to get more answers and hopefully one day find the one answer that will change everything. And because I started to ask this question, is it possible that 99% of the self-help approaches do not work? If that's true, then why isn't it working? What is it that we're all doing in the self-help industry, both as teachers, coaches, seminar leaders, and also as students? What are we doing if we can't get to that point of absolute freedom? Or, I mean, when I say absolute freedom, again, I mean absolute freedom from all our limitations, from all our perceived barriers, perceived obstacles, all these negative emotions, habits, beliefs. What is it that we keep trying all these different methods, but we're still not getting to that point? And about 4 or 5 years ago, I had a breakthrough, and I came across, because I asked the question and asked, if so, why? Why, if 99% is not working, why isn't it working to the full extent that we all want it to work? What's missing? And finally, I've had a breakthrough, and I found out, what it is. And this is what this whole webinar is about, is what I call the real cause. And that's what I want to share with you in this webinar, my findings, what I discovered. And when I discovered that and started to utilize that, a lot of my clients had major breakthroughs. I had major breakthroughs, and as we go through, you're going to see why. And I'm going to share with you what I found and the approach that I think that I've developed that is getting us to that point. So now you might be wondering, but who are you? Who are you, Patrick? Well, I'll share with you a little bit about myself so you know who I am and where I'm coming from. Okay, so the story of me. My name is Patrick Dardal. I'm an international trainer of NLP. I also developed my own methodology about 5 years ago. When I made that discovery that I talked about, and I developed my own methodology, which is a combination between Western psychology and science. I looked at science like neuroscience, biology, energy psychology, metaphysics, looked at all these different approaches. I learned everything I could and saw certain commonalities, important bits and pieces, as well as looking at the Eastern approaches of spiritual practices to see how all of this fits in to finding, what I talked about, the discovery I made with the real cause. So then I call this development quantum NLP, and I further distilled it into what I call the Limitless Program, which is part of what we're doing today, is sharing with you these discoveries. And I'm also a master life coach, and I had the opportunity and the privilege to coach thousands and thousands of individuals and businesses to create effective transformations in their lives and in their businesses, utilizing this discovery that I made. And in doing that, of course, I got a lot of reward seeing the shifts and transformations in my clients. So it's been a great and a fun journey, and this is another reason I want to share this with you, because so you can see for yourself what it is that you can create in your own life. And beyond all of this, I'm married with my beautiful wife Marie, and we both love to expand, learn more. We love to impact people and help. But I just wanted to give a little bit of background about me. And as I said, I've coached thousands and thousands of clients, and they paid me up to $8,000 for a 2-month coaching program. That's $800 per hour. And businesses have paid me $3,500 per day for consultations. And the reason I'm saying that is not to brag or anything, because that's not really important, but I want you to understand that they wouldn't pay this amount of money unless what I shared had some value and produced a result in their life or in their business. It's enough about me. Let's get in and let's talk about you, and let's talk about the real cause that will have an impact in your life now that you're going to go through it and discover what it is. So the first thing I want to talk about is what I call the magic pill syndrome. And there's a few things I've noticed as I've been teaching, being a student myself for the last 25 years in the self-help industry, is there's three important factors that unfortunately has hindered us from tapping into the full extent of being able to transform our lives and shift our lives and get our life to the point we want to, achieving the results that we want to achieve, our goals, and more than that, also have that fulfillment and joy and happiness throughout our day, moment by moment, day by day. So how can we get to that point? And there's three things that I've seen come in the way. And the first one is what I call the magic pill syndrome. And as you can see here, this lady is sitting, she's jaded and confused, maybe tired of it all. She's been reading all these books, she hasn't found the answer. And the magic pill syndrome is our drive or our urge to wanting to find the answer. This one answer that will shift everything. This weekend, 2-day weekend seminar that we hope that it's going to change or give us something so we can start to live our lives and design our lives the way we want to. And the truth is, and if you're new to the self-help and you're listening to this, you're in the right place. Because the rest of us, if you've been in self-help for a while, and me being in it for a long time and teaching as well, we both know that there is no magic pill. There is no easy way to get to that point that we all want to get to with the freedom. If someone says it's easy and they're promising you and guaranteeing you that within this weekend you're going to achieve this or that, I wouldn't go there, because we're adults. We know that it's not, one book is not going to make the biggest shift in our life, and we're going to experience that freedom that we want to be able to create the results we want, align with our purpose, and all of those things. A book won't do that. The next seminar won't do that. The next guru won't do that. So I just want to point that out. The magic pill syndrome, the industry thrives on it because they can sell us program after program. So you pay for a program, and then they have the next program, and then the next program. So it's a never-ending cycle of go to the next program and investing your time and energy, maybe even in the wrong place, as you'll see when we go through this webinar. So the magic pill syndrome is one problem, and now that we're aware of it, we can let that go, realize there is no magic pill. But what we can look for, and what I'm going to share with you today, is an approach, a workable approach, when you're dealing and handling the right cause instead of the symptoms. What I've discovered is that a lot of the self-help industries are dealing with the symptoms. And when I talk about the symptoms, I mean trying to change your beliefs from disempowering to positive ones, or trying to get rid of negative emotions, or changing your values hierarchy, or trying to think positively and get rid of your negative thoughts and have our positive ones instead of the negative ones. These approaches do not work to the full extent. It's just, and the reason is, which I'm going to share with you later in the webinar, is because they're symptoms. It's not the real cause. The question is, why do we have negative beliefs in the first place? Why do we have negative emotion, habits, and so on in the first place? And where do the values really come from? Where do all of these, once we find the truth of where they're really coming from, what the real cause is, and we start to handle and work with the real cause and have an effective approach to handle the real cause, then you're on the right track. Another thing I notice is that there's a lack of community and support. Let me just reiterate here a bit. I said there was three things. The first one is the magic pill syndrome. The second thing I noticed is, as I said, that most of self-help are dealing with the symptoms, which are the beliefs, emotion, negative beliefs, negative emotion, and so on. So dealing with the symptom you will never deal with the real cause. It's like if you have an acidic stomach, you can use a Rennie tablet, for example, to deal with that, which is a pill.